I was gone for 3 months, working a 90-day stretch on the offshore oil rig. But the moment I pulled my pickup into the quiet cul-de-sac of Harmony Pines, something felt violently wrong. Where was my house? My custom-built, 30-foot mobile home, lovingly christened the Wanderer, had vanished, and in its place sat a brand-new, sterile, beige double-wide, looking like an aggressively bland lump of plasticine, belonging to the self-proclaimed queen of this trailer park, Brenda Karen Peterson. Are you kidding me? The smell of diesel and stale sweat from the long drive instantly mingled with the pungent, almost aggressive scent of fresh sod and artificial air freshener wafting from the pristine front porch of the usurper's domicile. My jaw dropped so hard I thought I might need to schedule a dental appointment. I killed the engine, the sudden silence amplified by a chirping bird that sounded offensively cheerful. I stumbled out, feeling the grit of the gravel under my boots. Brenda, of course, was already out there, pruning a rosebush with surgical precision, wearing white capris and a look that suggested I was disturbing a sacred ritual. "Can I help you, sir?" she asked, her voice dripping with the saccharine authority of someone who lives to enforce fictional rules. "Help me?" I laughed, a harsh, dry sound that cracked in my throat. "Where the hell is my house, Brenda?" I pointed at the empty space beneath the awning where the Wanderer had rested for 5 years, its faded blue paint a charming contrast to the rest of the neighborhood's beige homogeneity. "That's my spot. You moved my house." Her face hardened instantly, the pleasant mask dissolving into the familiar, pinched expression of entitlement I'd come to dread at homeowners association meetings. "Mr. Jensen, your dilapidated shack was an eyesore," she declared, snipping a perfectly healthy rosebud for emphasis. "It violated Section 4.b, subsection 3, regarding aesthetic consistency and pre-approved paint palettes. It was scheduled for removal." I claimed the lot. Scheduled for removal? What bizarre fantasy world was she living in? I felt a dull, pounding heat behind my eyes. This woman, who thought the world was her private showroom, had somehow convinced a tow company to haul away my entire life while I was thousands of miles out in the Gulf. "You can't just claim someone's property. That's theft, Brenda. Grand theft," I yelled, my voice echoing off the aluminum siding. The neighbors, the ones too terrified of Brenda to challenge her, were peeking out of their blinds. Brenda merely sighed, the sound loud, theatrical, and designed to convey the enormous burden of dealing with my unreasonable outburst. I spoke to the management company. They agreed it looked abandoned. "You were gone for 90 days. Who leaves a dwelling unoccupied for 90 days unless they're planning a relocation? Did she think I was on vacation? I was busting my back for triple overtime to pay the mortgage on that thing." I took a deep, shuddering breath, trying to steady the frantic hammering of my heart. I pulled out my phone. I didn't need the park manager. I needed the company Brenda had hired. I knew she was cheap, and she always used the same local movers, Pete's Heavy Hauling. I called Pete directly, my knuckles white as I gripped the phone. "Pete, this is Leo Jensen. Did you haul a blue 30-foot unit from Harmony Pines 3 months ago?" "Yeah, the Wanderer. Where did you take it?" Pete, bless his weary soul, was cooperative. He admitted Brenda had ordered a unit removal from my lot, claiming she had purchased the whole trailer, sight unseen, from a shadowy relative who had recently moved. But here was the crucial detail, the tiny speck of justice in the dust. Pete hadn't taken it to the dump. He'd taken it to their secure overflow lot 20 miles away because the paperwork was confusing, and the name on the title was still mine. I hung up, a slow, predatory grin spreading across my face. Brenda was still pontificating about my lack of curb appeal, completely missing the change in my demeanor. "You'll have to deal with my attorney now," she was saying, tossing her perfectly coiffed blonde hair. I ignored her. I called Pete back. "Pete, I need you to do me a favor. Brenda's new unit," I lowered my voice, "the big beige one, is sitting in the wrong spot. You need to come and tow that one away today. I'll meet you there and I'll pay you double the normal rate. Cash." I gave him a fabricated tale about the double-wide being mistakenly delivered to my original, now Brenda's, lot due to a clerical error on her end. Was it lying? Maybe. Was it necessary counter-dame justice? Absolutely. The next morning I was waiting. I had already visited the Wanderer in the overflow lot, a triumphant reunion, and secured the necessary release forms. I watched Brenda through my binoculars as she sipped coffee inside the new double-wide, probably drafting a new homeowners association violation for the height of my mailbox. The air was thick and humid, heavy with the promise of a glorious reckoning. I heard the distant, low growl of a powerful diesel engine. Pete was punctual. The massive yellow rig, a beacon of imminent chaos, pulled up right to Brenda's new place. Brenda, upon seeing the tow truck, burst out her front door, her face a magnificent study in rage. "What is the meaning of this? I didn't call you. You're making noise!" she shrieked, clutching her gold-plated phone. The driver, a young guy named Mikey, didn't even flinch. He just dropped the massive steel arm and began to secure the hitch to the underside of the sterile double-wide. "Lady, I just follow orders," Mikey drawled, his voice bored. "This unit was delivered to the wrong address. We're rerouting it." "Rerouting? I live here. I own this house." Brenda screeched, so furious she was practically vibrating. She made the fatal mistake of stomping back inside to grab her official homeowners association documents to prove her ownership. That was my cue. I waved Mikey forward. With a sickening clunk and a hydraulic hiss that sounded like the gates of hell opening for her, the hitch locked. Mikey slowly started to crank up the front end of the double-wide. Brenda reappeared at the window, papers flying in her hand, realizing too late that her feet were no longer level with the ground. "Stop! I'm in here. You can't tow me." Her scream was a high, thin whine, suddenly filled with genuine terror instead of manufactured outrage. It was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. Mikey just put the giant rig in gear, and the house began to groan, slowly pulling away from the lot. The sight of Brenda Peterson, queen of the Homeowners Association, being involuntarily relocated in her own newly claimed mobile home, her face pressed against the window like a trapped insect, was priceless. I saw a handful of neighbors step out onto their lawns, openly pointing and laughing, a revolution of giggles. The justice wasn't just in the towing. It was in the profound public humiliation. I stood there, breathing in the smell of the damp, freshly turned earth where her house had stood moments before. I finally found my voice, shouting to the retreating, shaking house. "Maybe next time, ask for the title before you steal a man's home." The truck roared away, carrying Brenda to an unknown and likely unpleasant storage lot. Sometimes you don't need a manager. You just need to understand the logistics of heavy hauling. Property rights, and the sweet, sweet taste of karma will always beat aesthetic consistency. Remember that the law may move slowly, but a tow truck, when properly motivated, moves fast.